genre. Buy it.
Well, all right. So, yeah, I mean, you guys really have an indie alt type of thing going on. And, you know, I've never been too much into the alt country, but you guys are really doing something different. And that's kind of what I look for on this show. People who are taking country music and taking it in interesting places. Unlike mainstream country, the industry, which are taking it the exact same place every single song, every single time. So, you know what? This wasn't really in my list of questions here for you, but what are your feelings about what's going on with mainstream country music these days? I mean, do you spend much time or pay much attention to it at all?
Most of us just try to not think about it.
Whenever I hear it, so the last time I was really exposed to it was sitting in an RV parts supply store, waiting on getting some service, and I was listening to some song. A guy was singing about riding around on his boat with some girl, and then they started rapping, and yeah, I don't know. It's odd is what it is. I don't really understand it. The thing is, I understand that people like what they like and whatever, but I really don't get, how people just like whatever is just forced down their throats, you know? And it seems like that's what that is. It's like they came up with some kind of formula, and they're just hitting repeat on the formula, and with slight variations, hey, let's make them rap, or whatever.
Well, I gotta tell you, doing what I do, I'm a DJ as my living. I do weddings and events and things like that. But I get whatever hits the top 20 in country and I add it to my library, and I go through every single song. And I gotta tell you, I don't think there was a single song. I sat there editing songs and just checking out the songs early this morning for about an hour, and I don't think I ran across one single song in my editing that didn't have the line "drop a tailgate" in it. Not one.
Drop tailgate.
So you're on tour right now, and you have your kid with you on the road. That correct?
Yeah.
So what do you do with the kid while you're performing?
I would just throw him in a cage.
We have a road nanny that comes with us, and he takes care of the baby. In some of the venues are all ages, so he'll bring Thomas is his name. He's one. He just turned 1 in February. But Graham, the road nanny, will bring Thomas into the shows that are all ages and dance around with him if he's not tired. Otherwise, he just hangs out with him on the bus.
Well, nice. Well, busking must do pretty good. You can hire a road nanny. Wow.
Room and board.
Okay. So you're touring in an old converted school bus that runs on vegetable oil. Okay, what's inspired you, first off, to tour in wintertime in the first place? And number two, do it in a vehicle that many people would be worried about, number one, an old school bus being able to make it town to town, and much less now you've converted it to run on vegetable oil. I would think most people would be concerned about getting somewhere and not being able to get fuel for it. So how are you pulling this thing off?
I think first and foremost, we're all self-loathing. So we like to set up the deck so that we're surrounded by misery and hard times.
As much of a flight risk having that boat is, it actually makes it very possible for us to do this, because we get to save money on hotels, and if we can find used oil, we save a lot of money on diesel that way. So it really is making it pretty possible. I can imagine doing this in a van, trying to travel for 3 months. It would be really, really hard.
So
yeah, it was kind of.
So it will run on normal diesel oil as well. If you can't find vegetable oil, you can get diesel.
Yeah,
either way. Yeah, and then it says something about the winter. This is summer for us. We live in Indiana, where it's probably 6 degrees and snowing right now or something. So we decided to head south for the winter, like all the snowbirds. And it just made sense rather than freezing our butts off. And
you can say ass. You can't say like S F. You just can't say the real bad ones. So you can say like damn and crap and ass.
Right. Well, we just decided that that if we're gonna do this music thing, we can't afford to take the winter off, and we'd rather not be cold up north, so we headed south. And it's been strange and fun, and we played around a few wood stoves, and I don't know, it's been cool.
Well, awesome. Well, that's good news. And you know what other kind of news we do here on Undercountry Music?
Undercountry news.
We do, because it's time for the Undercountry Music News! Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's what we like to hear. All right. Now the Undercountry Music News. Now, first off, for those of you just joining us, because I do break the Undercountry Music News out as its very own show on certain platforms that only allow a talk format. So for those of you just now joining us, first off, you can get the full episode, not just the news, by going to undercountrymusic.com. Undercountrymusic.com, you get the full episode. But since you're here and just listening to the news right now, we are hanging out with a band out of Indiana, Lafayette, Indiana, I believe, called Traveling Broke and Out of Gas. They've joined me on the phone from a gas station bathroom in Biloxi, Mississippi, right? They're passing a hooch around and hanging out with us. Hey, say hello to everyone who's just joined us here on the Undercountry Music News.
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Salutation.
Yes. All right. Now, Traveling Broken Out of Gas, I don't think they quite know what they've gotten themselves into here. And I think they're one of those bands that really is not going to care too much because, first off, do you guys know what the Undercountry Music News is?
No. That sounds like news under country music, though.
Right. Well, what I do is I round up the week in country music news. Now, I do a little different, though, because what I do is I type the words country music news into Google, and whatever websites come up on the front page of Google, and I've noticed in my history of doing this that most websites that proclaim to have country music news, you go on there, and it's crap like Sarah Darling's new haircut, will it ruin her career? And BS like that.
Sarah Darling.
Yeah, exactly. And now, or like Taylor Swift's new toenail polish, or Luke Bryan reveals a third nipple, or something like that. Well, that one I would report that one, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that happened.
Brett Eldridge's favorite color of socks, crap like that. These country music news outlets are really, you'll see 6 stories like that, and then you'll have 1, and if you're lucky, 2 stories that are actual news that people need to read and hear in their ear. And that's what I do. I find those 1 or 2 stories from each of those places, and I compile them. And I compress them until they're a little tiny compressed ball, and I keep adding pressure, and I add it more and more and more and more until it becomes a diamond of country music news. And that's what I bring to the listeners of Undercountry Music each and every week. Now, here's the dangerous part, and which will scare most of the artists that co-host on the show with me, who are all looking for mainstream country music careers and are trying to make friends and buddies. And this part usually scares the pants off of them. Well, since you're standing in a bathroom that might not be the worst thing at the moment, but when I get to a website and all they have are like Luke Bryan's favorite socks or some BS like that, I reward one unlucky website each and every week. And actually last week I broke new ground because I rewarded 2 websites with it. And that thing that I rewarded them with was the Undercountry Music News Wet Belch of the Week. Are you ready to ruin any chance of a career that you may have in mainstream country music?
Yes.
All right. Something tells me you're kind of already on that path. All right. Over at CMT, are you familiar with CMT, Country Music Television?
Yes.
Right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, we have our unlucky recipient of the Undercountry Music News Wet Belch of the Week. Because over at CMT, it's crap music television. Crap, pure crap. Nothing but crap. Did I mention they had crap over there this week?
That's crappy.
I know. All right. Over at countryweekly.com. The most interesting country music news over there is actually about the FX channel's animated series Archer. You familiar with that? The cartoon Archer?
Awesome show.
Okay, now one of the animated characters on the show, Cheryl. You familiar with her?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, she's changed her name to Charlene. And
Yes.
That's what I saw. We were drunk the other night in a hotel and flipping through channels, and we saw the show. We didn't know what was going on. But okay.
yeah.
Sugar hat.
And she's released a country album. For real. A real actual country album that you can actually get. Now, you can actually download it, okay? You can download the entire album over at iTunes. And one of the songs from this album, Midnight Blues, is over for your listening pleasure in its entirety over at countryweekly.com.
So is it like a spoof or is it like a real album?
Well, I'm guessing it's supposed to be a spoof. Okay, now I'm saying it's supposed to be a spoof, kind of like how Spinal Tap was supposed to be a spoof of a band.
Right.
Or Metalocalypse.
But Spinal Tap ended up making better music than most of real bands that are out there. More interesting and entertaining. Anyway, you see where I'm going with this. I went over and I checked out the iTunes link for this album, and I got to tell you, it's the best damn collection of country music I have heard coming from any major entertainment media outlet in a very, very long time. And it's really sad that in order to put out good music these days, you have to put it out as a joke. I mean, who's the joke on here, you know?
Wow.
See, there's
you think it'd be a joke, but then when you listen to it, I can never even. I can probably tell you it's probably better than most of what.
Yeah, look at this cartoon country singer, and it's better than most crap that's out there right now.
Exactly. I mean, like with a song title like "Broken Hearts and Auto Parts," how can you go wrong? Okay. And now, there are 3 cover songs on the album and 8 originals. And I like the originals best, like Broken Hearts and Auto Parts, but the cover songs, they have the highest ratings on iTunes, of course. And one of the songs is including a duet with Kenny Loggins. Yes, for real, Kenny Loggins actually sings on this song.
Yeah.
Kenny Loggins and Charlene from Archer, and they're doing a country version of Highway to the Danger Zone.
That's awesome.
Anyway, you know what? I got to tell you, a cartoon country artist, it's not that far of a cry than the parade of manufactured characters coming out of Music Row these days. So, You know, why not?
Right.